Today we're reacting to Worst Times to Be Alive by Tommy NFG. I gotta be honest, off the top, I feel like one of the worst times to be alive after like slavery gotta be anything prehistoric, where 100 men versus 1 gorilla debate was an actual reality for people, but instead it was like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and stuff. In times where like your village could get raided by a whole nother group of people, slaughtering you and then putting your children and your wife into slavery, like that had to be some of the worst, wildest junk.
The world is facing a massive turmoil all around it, and people aren't really happy with things like wars that don't need to be happening.
Bye-bye, Russia!
Inflation that turned a Little Caesars pizza from $5 to $10. It don't even be tasting good enough for this price. Little Caesars, y'all know you're wrong for this. People barely being able to afford to live. But all things considered, we're probably at the best moment in humanity compared to other times. Which is why we're gonna be looking at the
worst times to be alive.
Starting off with none other than caveman times.
Yeah.
The name of it in general gives it away. Caveman times. Them had to live in caves to survive the nights for slumber. Like, we consider the least you can have in life is shelter. Their shelter was a damp cave with all types.
Look at that. Look at that. Imagine waking up from a bad dream. Oh my God. Just like that, poked all in the eye, head, skull. Cause what is this? What do they call this right here? I haven't been in school for a while. I know how they form, but imagine you trying to get good rest. You wake up. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, during this period, everybody stink. Your woman stink. You try to have relations with your woman. Imagine that stench. You feel me? Y'all don't know nothing about nothing. In caves, like, unless they was closing them with another big ass rock, they still open to the public. You feel me?
Of insects and bats flying around. You could barely around and risk sleeping because a 20-foot spider might bite your nuts off while you sleep. And could you imagine how sleeping in the winter would have been like? I know that rock bed felt like ice cubes. The typical day for a caveman is waking up and hoping you weren't eaten by either a saber-toothed tiger, a woolly mammoth, or Elon Musk. Then you have to go out and actually hunt for your food. And unless you're the liver king and hunting bulls, then throwing the testes in your breakfast cereal,
I ain't even think about that, y'all.
And the worst part too is that they're
oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that, y'all. Like, laziness wasn't an option. You know, when you like, damn, I don't feel like making this, or I don't feel like getting up, and I'm a DoorDash. You can't DoorDash live eel meat. You know what I'm saying? You can't DoorDash that antelope down the pasture. You gotta go put your little Johnson cover on and grab your spear and get busy. You feel me? Don't come back if you ain't made it happen. Different times.
Weapons weren't even that good. Like, what did they have? Spears, bows and arrows, hammers? We use that shit in Minecraft now to survive. A spear or bow was probably cool to get a.
And I ain't gonna lie, my bad. I personally, look, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I don't think I'm dying to no bow and arrow. If an arrow were to hit me, well, okay, hold on. The old ones, maybe not these new ones, but the old ones, I feel like I'm taking that. Unless it hit me in my head or, you know what I'm saying, and bust my whole fajita. But if I get hit in the arm or the chest or the back, I don't feel like that's killing me, man. Unless they put some poison on it.
A little bird or fox. But what the is it gonna do against the Gigantocopatic? Okay, I'm not gonna try to pronounce his name, but this big ass ape, an extinct species of ape that were 10 feet tall and weighed over 1,000 pounds. This must be the primate Shaq comes from, because ain't no way, dog. You're gonna need about 1,000 arrows to take one of these down. Imagine these lived in modern times with us. The NBA would be paying top dollar to get one of them on their team. But nowadays, we could see one of these creatures and be like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And boom, the species would be gone. You also gotta factor in weather too, because unlike today's tools where we can predict when anything is gonna happen, before they had to take a gamble if their village was gonna be up or taken by a tsunami in the middle of the night. I would turn into a villain if I woke up in the whole village.
Imagine not knowing shit and you get hit with a tornado, or even worse, you get hit with a hurricane. You don't know nothing about shit. You know, you can prepare it. They be like, hey, everybody make sure you get your food and da da da. Nigga, a hurricane come through. flood your whole cave.
Was
This the worst time to be
and
alive,
people
bro.
talk about lifespan being low before modern medicine in the past, but imagine in caveman times.
Oh
They'd
my
be
God.
lucky if they celebrated their 18th birthday. Doing my
Facts.
inquisiting research with asking a question on Google, the average caveman lived to 20 to 25 years old, man. He was already considered unk at 12 years old. A caveman could just catch the common cold, and everyone in the village already knew it was GG.
Oh,
If
yeah,
my
everybody's
caveman
done.
homie caught the cold and gave it to me, I'm gonna have to spear his ass first before the cold takes him. Plus, since there was no hygiene like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, they were dying to basic things we prevent nowadays,
my
like
God.
tooth infections and ass aids. Well, I don't know about ass aids, but a leaf to wipe your ass had to have not been healthy. But the main reason I couldn't live back.
Imagine the first niggas, speaking of the leaf, imagine the first niggas to get poison ivy. Bro, I remember when I got poison ivy, my arm, I know this was a rare thing. Niggas don't just get poison ivy, I know. But I was doing some shit I wasn't supposed to do. Got poison ivy, bro. Poison ivy, rash, whatever. My arm, it looked like somebody had poured molten lava on my shit. My shit was bubbling. You feel me? It was fucked up. It got all over my body. It got so bad on my arm when I finally got treatment for it. My whole arm was like, like the skin on my arm basically died. It was black. Like, not my black and rotting. It was like my arm was dying, bro, with the treatment. And I don't even remember. It just ended up healing. Like, you see my shit good now. But yeah, it was crazy, bro.
Back then, quite frankly, is because everyone was ugly as shit. Like, how am I supposed to be on my Kai Cenat, Duke Dennis, looks maxing, edge mewing, joking type of timing when I look like this? I just keep bashing my face against the wall and hope my proportions smooth out better like handsome Squidward. The next time we got is the medieval times. Now, there's a obvious
bad,
reason
too.
I wouldn't survive because, well, let's just say I wouldn't be allowed in the town with the regular folks. But it's not like I'd want to because was not fun. Like, I know I already talked about hygiene with the caveman, but holy at least they died early. There were actual old people in the medieval times. Back then, they used to actually think it was healthier to not shower. Scientists were not the brightest creatures. They thought diseases were caused by smells, and if you took a shower, it opened up the pores for the disease to enter your body, which has got to be the dumbest conclusion ever, but hey, that's what you get on a diet of stale bread and moldy cheese. I also like me a nice toilet with the sea-ass temp set at 68 degrees Fahrenheit to set forth the environment for my bowels to erupt.
And then also another bad thing about this I just thought about is the way you had to speak. Art thou not in thy, bro? You ain't got no ebonics. You can't talk normal. Like, you always gotta come with some beautiful, exquisite way to say I'm hungry. Thy stomach is rumble. Like, you can't even say regular shit. This shit not hard.
But do you know what a medieval toilet looked like? It was a hole in the ground. And after people finished doing their business, they would just throw their outside. Imagine walking to school or work in the morning and you get hit by 5 pounds of diarrhea from above. And in medieval times,
Niggas gonna have to joust to me after some shit like that. They gonna have to get on their horse and joust. Real shit.
you better hope you don't get
armor.
caught with doing a heinous act like being a traitor, being black, because their torture methods were out of pocket for no
facts.
reason. If you're tapped into the historical side of YouTube, you've already seen how wild they could get. And the names give them away of the torture devices. Like, what type of joist object would be called the breast ripper? The worst one to me is the rack, where they tied you to a mechanical device that rotates and slowly stretched out your body until every bone broke and you ripped in half. If they
This was brutal. And you know what's worse about this? Niggas went to go view this. Like, this is just the NBA finals. Like, you watching the Lakers and the Timberwolves right now. Oh, y'all gonna pull up to the back in body terror? Y'all watching that tonight? Like, that was just normal entertainment. But I mean, shit, I guess when you don't really have much to entertain, I guess you find it in the death of somebody who stole a loaf of bread, maybe, I guess.
they bring this back as a torture method, never in my life am I even attempting to do the
Oh yeah, a lot of niggas gonna
I'm
stop.
gonna be the most stellar
doing
citizen the
crimes.
government has ever seen. I'll always make sure to cross the street on a crosswalk, and I'll always make sure to go exactly the speed limit.
And I'm telling,
and
and
it's
I'm
not like they
snitching.
even did it for only extreme criminals. If you simply had a different religious belief, they was finna call you a witch and put you on it pronto. Honestly, I don't even know why you would even tell them you have a different religious belief. Like, you just gotta
I'm
be
lying.
fucking stupid. Also, people think politicians and world leaders are corrupt now, but could you you imagine back then? You could probably give a king the wrong look, and if he's already mad,
facts. And they going, cause what? Like, you could be the king, and the world, like, when you were the king back then, nigga, you was like you was like basically God on earth for them niggas. You could say what you wanted and it was done. Somebody come over here and whenever time I pass gas, put your hand out and catch it and go throw it out the window. Your job is the fart catcher and throw it outside. Off the top, if I was the king, I could tell you watching to do that. Otherwise, we gonna put you on that that body stretcher and tear your shit off. These are the options that you have. Like, nigga, you have to do this. There wasn't no like human rights and, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't like, oh, humane ways to go about correcting behavior. No. I don't like the way that nigga's chin is to the left and not to the right. Go ahead, grab him for me. Go ahead, take him down to the dungeon. And they forget about shit. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have well, I'm sure they had like ledgers and stuff. They ain't have database to where it was like, you know, you sign a prisoner in. No, we throw your ass down there. Y'all seen the cartoons and the movies where they'll throw a nigga into the prison, into the little cage prison, right? And when they look to their left, it's just a skeleton with clamps still. They forgot the nigga was there. They left his bones there, and his body is just a skeleton stuck against the wall with a handcuff to the wall and shit. This is how niggas was living, bro. Fuck no.
That day, he'll just send you to be executed. And if I was a king, honestly, I'd probably do that shit too. Like, if I see some dude in the kingdom that looks handsome and might be a threat to my pulling abilities, I'm gonna have him executed. Game is game. And it's not like anyone was going against the king. If they tried, they would barely have a chance. You would try killing a king, a knight would stop you, then put you through the most excruciating torture to ever exist.
Now, but the thing is, too, as a king, though, you can't get too crazy because another thing that did exist was your ass could get overthrown. You know what I'm saying? If they was, I don't know how often that happened, but your ass fuck around and try to make an order. Go ahead, slaughter him, and then they kind of all stop for a second and turn around and they like, we about to get on your ass. You know what I'm saying? And then they put you on the back bone stretcher in the middle of the street for it to be displayed. And I promise you, everybody in the township, the slaves, everybody gonna pull up to watch that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you was an asshole.
Take him to Detroit. No!
We also thought quarantine was bad and staying 1.5 years or 2 years inside was excruciating. But in medieval times, they had the Black Plague and... yeah, we really shouldn't be complaining. You were waking up every day and bodies were dropping left and right like no tomorrow. One day it was your homie's grandmother gone. The next day
I'd have been holding my breath every day.
Your grandmother gone. This plague took out 50% of the population. Imagine right now we went from 8 billion to 4 billion. Honestly, I wouldn't mind some of y'all freaks being taken out, but 4 billion was a little too much for me, you know? And their plague was 7 years. Also, the doctors were not helping back then because why did they choose this as their outfit? They look creepy as f. No way in hell I'm letting these dudes get near to help me with my medical predicaments. They couldn't have chose a scarier costume to go with. What were they thinking? Imagine being a...
And yeah, like, they chose that, right? I know somebody had the right mind to be like, wait, hold on. Why don't we just do something where, like, we cover up the face part, like a regular mask? Like, why don't we just put it over this part? Why do we have to have the whole suit on? And they probably got slaughtered, put on that backbone stretcher, like, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask no questions. Ooh, put them on there. Or put them in the dungeon with those other 10 skeletons that are around there. You feel me? That's how I'd be moving. Nigga, don't ask me no questions. What I said is done.
Innocent child and having the Black Plague, then this thing comes to aid.
Oh my gosh.
I'ma just say my prayers to my Lord and Savior, then drop dead. The next times we got is segregation times. And if you're not of a melanated skin tone, well, congratulations. You get a one-time pass for this portion of the video to relive it. Let me give a shout out real quick to the GOATs. MLK, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X. Because without them, you wouldn't be watching this video of me. Either that or there would be a black-only YouTube and white-only YouTube. So, I don't know, maybe you would be watching it. I would have been pissed off living back then because the hassle you had to get anything while segregated was absurd. Like, we already know everything was separated by black and white places only, but then imagine how many actual black businesses you could go to. The hassle you had to go through alone to be able to open a business was almost impossible. As soon as they saw the race listing on the business application, you know they did not give a fuck. If you had to get a life-threatening
Shout out to niggas persistent like Malcolm X and you know what I'm saying, Rosa Parks, and you know what I'm saying. Imagine, shout out to all of them that were persistent, because I would have only needed a few times to get my ass beat in the street by a few white cops. You know what I'm saying? Until I really fell in line. I'm not the guy to fight for shit. I'm not. Unless it's like, you know, something gonna happen with my family or myself. Like, I'm gonna make sure, you know what I'm saying, I'll protect and I'll die and go to prison for my people. But for the cause, Dior's not the guy to call to help the cause. You need some money donated, send you a few. But for me to be out on the street, because as soon as they shoot that tear gas in the crowd, or they come in with batons and start I'm gonna be the nigga down the street running back to the crib. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Surgery, you might as well just end it there, because there were about 50 people in line in front of you. And even if you did manage to get something luxurious like a car back then, you was getting pulled over every time you tried. You probably couldn't even use the car at nighttime anyways, because sundown towns, which for y'all that don't know are towns that ban non-white people from coming in after sundown. Imagine you don't know and randomly drive into the town a minute after sundown and catch a beating. I'd be pissed. And a beating is
gonna be
probably the lightest punishment they'd consider. I'd also be mad too, because I wouldn't be able to talk to one of my white homies half the time. You couldn't hang out at the same school, hotels, bars, restaurants, parks, basically anywhere that was fun. The only place we would be able to talk is probably a damn grass field in the middle of Iceland. And if your love happened,
I wouldn't even have white homies during this time. I'd be too scared, and I'd be too mad at them. I'd just be mad as hell.
To be of another race as well, they definitely not gonna let that pass. You finna get banished from the fam.
Risky,
Why do you
bro.
think you've never seen an old light-skinned person? Really question yourself. Have you ever seen an old light-skinned person?
Yes, you have.
They wasn't breeding them until like 50 years ago.
Let me show y'all what. Boldman Alexander. This is my grandfather. Old light-skinned man. He's passed now. God rest his soul. Let me get some R.I.P. Boldmans in the chat.
It wasn't allowed. Thank the heavens they allowed it, or else we would have never gotten my pookie wookie trachey snaky. You could be walking down the street normally doing your own thing, and randomly someone is calling you the hard R like it's Call of Duty. And unlike Call of Duty where you can talk back, you couldn't risk doing it because you know the cops are not taking your side. You getting a life sentence if you even think of speaking back. Crazy thing is, some people act like this was like 500 years ago or something. The Civil Rights Act got passed 60 years ago. Some people alive were in their 20s, 30s, and 40s when it got passed. And of course, the last time we got is World War II, because, no. Now, World War II was one of those times where every group had it bad. First, you had to get drafted to a war you didn't want to fight. Like, I don't got no problems with anyone. Why the f am I fighting? These presidents got to start fighting in a boxing ring or something, because I'm not fighting with some problems you got. And patriotism went extra crazy before, because kids were dead-ass lying to get drafted and fight for the country. I'm doing the exact opposite of this happen. Whatever means it takes to not be drafted, I'm doing it. If I gotta lie about my age and act 12 years old, I'm doing it. If I gotta go up in a political position to be safe, I'm doing it. If I gotta act like I'm sped for years,
y'all gonna be like, oh, he don't talk. I'm gonna just be, every time they pull up to see if I get drafted, I'm gonna just be sitting like this, like I can't move. Like, so what does he do? Is he good for anything? Sir, what's your name? I'm gonna just fart. You know what I'm saying? Just do some shit. I'm just do some shit that's like, oh yeah, he's not able-bodied. As soon as they walk out, they gone. Peeking through the blinds and shit, they gone.
I'm doing it. And it's even worse for other wars like the Vietnam War, because they would announce the draft picks on live TV, and whatever birthday it was, you were getting drafted.
Man.
They treat it like it's the NFL or NBA draft. Imagine watching this live and them going, okay, and the draft we have for the Vietnam War of
What if you pull your own birthday? Not this one.
1972 is going to be okay, I'm March 3rd. Please don't be me. Please don't be me. Please don't be me. March 4th. Oh. Guess I'm good after all. There's been a mistake in the announcement. We meant March 3rd. Fuck! Patriotism really worked back then because all they knew was what the TV played and what the government said. Being on a warfield for months and not knowing when you're gonna either get sniped, hit by a 5-foot tank shell, captured by the enemy, and being tortured for weeks wasn't really the best living times for people. And if you were Japanese, well, I mean, You know how that story goes. Japan was ruthless though, not gonna lie, but could you imagine you're drafted into the Japanese military and the job they assign you is as a kamikaze? There was no age limit to this job either. They gave this job to teenagers. Your fate is already destined that you're dying. What do you even do at that point? A nigga like me would have to dip in the middle of the mission.
I'm flying off. They're gonna be like, all right, he should be making contact right now. And then they just gonna see my little shit go out of range. I'm just gonna fly away. I know you taught me how to fly. Shit. I gonna fly to another. I'm gonna fly to America and become a spy. Look, this is what they're trying to do over here, man. This is all the codes. Here you go, the nuclear launch codes as well. All of that. Y'all niggas want me to fly and blow shit up.
Mission and just let the plane crash in the ocean. I feel like it would be way easier nowadays to get people to do it though. You could recruit by looking for some emo kids or a sad edit TikTok comment section, you know, people that wouldn't mind.
If you saw that outside one day.
And if you were Jewish, well, I mean, you also know how that story goes. And after being forcibly drafted to the war, you'd come back home and still be broke. With all that PTSD you got, it was probably hard to work any job.
Yeah, it was bad too. That was the shit. Y'all know I love war movies, bro. Them be the ones where the bomb, you out in the field crawling and your partner like, hey man, just make sure if you make it home, boom! And all you see is vertebrae. You know what I'm saying? All you see is knuckles on the ground. You just see two hands and the gun on the ground, but the nigga whole body's gone though. That was the type of shit they see. Boom, shoom, y'all know that shit? Y'all know the movies? Yeah, nah. I love them movies though.
You couldn't work in a restaurant because you get PTSD from oil popping from the fryer.
Right.
You couldn't work a factory job because you get PTSD from all the loud machines. You couldn't work as a corn star because you get PTSD from all the clapping. And even if you do get paid, it's barely enough to scrap by. There's no reason we should have homeless veterans. So yeah, guys, even though the world isn't perfect and things seem like they're always getting worse, at least you didn't have to be a kamikaze pilot in World War II. I think that's the lesson here. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram.
Follow Tommy G, man. That was a great video, bro. Y'all let me know what y'all think. What was the worst time to live? If he didn't bring it up, y'all let me know. Love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Everybody who's supporting me and the things that I'm switching up and the changes that I'll make. It's not for everybody, but I'm going to do what I feel like is best. So that being said, I'm going, man. ADD lad. Do it.